computer, no keyboard on my phone, so you get a vlog because I'm not writing on my phone. There's two memes that just needs to die that has been going on for way too long. The first one is that the Rise of Skywalker is doing damage control on The Last Jedi, and that is absolutely wrong. The Last Jedi were one doing the damage control on The Force Awakens because J.J. Abrams was just doing the same thing he always does. He was doing the mystery box, he was putting up, and he were just making it about Star Wars. Like the first trilogy, both are about something. The original ones are obviously about post World War II with the Nazis imagery, and the first one is about how people use elongated conflicts in order to facilitate power, or more specifically, the Vietnam War. And what J.J. Abrams were doing, he were not making the movies about something. He were making Star Wars movies about its surface elements. He was making it about Star Wars, the pure lore. It was not about anything. And it's not just that. He was also doing the standard mystery box writing, where he hooks you in with interesting questions, but there is no answers. So the thing that makes it so that the movie, when it's being made, is entertaining because it has interesting questions. It has hooks. It makes you want to go and see where this can take you. But the problem is that he never has answers, and you can never create satisfying answers to these questions because they're not made to be answered. They're just made to pile on more mystery questions. And so, like JJ is infamous for not being able to end stuff, and that's simply because he doesn't create something to be sustainable to the end. It's so what The Last Jedi did. He was giving JJ an out. He was basically taking Pitchfork and saying that fuck. I'm good at this vlog rant stuff. But he was giving out and saying, no, this answer doesn't matter. We are gonna do our own thing. We are gonna be about something. The Last Jedi is about something. I will give you that. It's not a particularly good movie. I love the Luke Skywalker parts. I love what they do with him. I love how they further the elements that were kind of there in the prequels, but modeled by all the bloated action stuff. And it... Fuck, where am I going? Fuck. What? How did I completely blank out there? Oh yeah, I love the Luke Skywalker part, but it's the B movies. There's no B story. It's all just muddled. It doesn't know what to focus on. The Poe and Lady Captain was frustrating to watch. The Rose and Finn side quest were uninteresting. And yeah, I will give you that it feels like it has a beef with Star Wars, but it still has something to say. It's interesting, and I would say that makes it more Star Wars, because you are saying that if you like The Last Jedi, you are not a Star Wars fan, or it is not a Star Wars movie, which I hugely disagree on, because okay, why is that? Is it because it is not a fan of the Jedis? Because the prequels very much, even the original trilogy, is very much criticizing the Jedi Order, and there's this meme where they are evil or fundamentally bad, which is wrong. But in the prequels, they are short-sighted and incredibly easily to manipulate. They are being used by Palpatine in order to extend the conflicts and war, and although they believe they're doing good, they are being used for pretty much evil. And in the fifth movie, like Luke learns to go away from the Jedi learnings. Like he has to give away for his feeling, like stop caring about the people, and he decides to not do that and go and save his friend. So like not disagreeing with the order, and how is okay if that's not a problem, then if it's that he is a mythical, monolithic, iconic creature, that Luke is the savior and he is perfect, and if you dare saying anything against that, that's not a Star Wars movie. Which we can say I disagree with that too. I very much find it interesting that they went the brave route and go against the grain on this one. That because again, you can actually say something instead of jerking off and saying, do you remember Star Wars? I remember Star Wars. Here, look at this thing that is Star Wars, and it's cool to like this. Look, we has worked as a movie now because we remind you of this other movie. But no, it's much more interesting, and it brings in a meta texture that it talk about Luke's role, what happened with Luke after a trilogy and what he has become. Because the biggest problem with the prequels is that infatuating with Darth Vader, where in the original he was just this very cool looking but very relevant side character, but he was not God. He was not the most powerful being in the universe, but because of marketing and because increased, then the prequels made him that. He had to be the chosen one, like the center of all conflict. And doing that with Luke, I will not like, because even in the extended universe, like I never liked the thing that directly follows the sequels, because they often get infatuated with those famous elements, and just Luke as this almighty god of the universe has never chimed right with me, or I never really like he was chosen by the Force, but he's still a human being. And also Mark Hamill's performance, Last Jedi, it's great. But again, I won't hail it as a particularly good movie, but those elements of the movie are great, and they have some good scenes like the hyperspace ramming. But it's definitely the best of the trilogy. And the Rise of Skywalker killed all that. It removes every save the director gave to JJ, because he was doing the same hack. Like JJ Abrams is the housing crisis of writing. He creates a non-sustainable setup that gets people hooked and interested and in, but he can't deliver. Never. He won't. No one can. And Last Jedi gave us that out. And interesting, in like you have the metaphor where Kylo Ren has his mask and realizes that he is trying to channel his grandfather, and symbolically smashes that helmet in order to say, okay, we are not the sequel anymore. We're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna make the argument for why we should exist and what we can bring to the table. And then JJ in The Rise of Skywalker, like, wield it back together. Like, he is symbolically saying that no, we have no worth ourselves. We are solely based on the value of the sequels. Which is funny, because he actually lessens the value of the sequels with belittling Darth Vader's sacrifice. Like, okay, here's the thing with lore. Like, you can give any explanation for anything in a story, but it has to work mechanically. It has to work as a narrative, as storytelling. Like, yes, you can explain why Palpatine is alive, but you have to explain. You have made the argument, or like in lore, the justification why Palpatine is alive. But then you have to justify it narratively. You have to tell me, what do we gain by doing this? And does it make up for what we lose? And I don't think it did that. And then it's also the meme of that JJ did the best he could. That this was, no one can make it better. And I actually like with Rise Skywalker, and I vehemently disagree with that one too, because for several reasons. Again, like there was no intention. Like Palpatine wasn't going to be in the sequels. It was just JJ wanting to do the 6th movie, and and then but had to like argue against the previous one. But because this trilogy was never planned, and like JJ wasn't even gonna be doing the 3rd one. Originally, they set up 3 different directors that was gonna do their own thing with these movies, which could be interesting. But then with the Last Jedi and people getting angry about it daring to do something, they wanted the studio yes man back. But even then, like, you can blame the higher ups for a lot of things, but stuff like introducing the Power Ranger girl, and that seemed to be just JJ friends that he wanted to get paycheck, that you see for 2 seconds her eyes and 1 afternoon of voiceover. Like the problem, it's overstuffed, so then you don't have to go and add more character that get 1 scene, and it's also spineless. Like removed Rose because it didn't do well. Fuck Asians actors. Okay, I'm not gonna go that way. He's not racist but he's weak and spineless. And the gay kiss that's 4 seconds of unfocused that they could edit out for the national release, like they did with Singapore. Look it up. They edited out the gay kiss. And it played into no of its elements. Like nothing introduced in the new one it uses, and several elements it like brings up that it doesn't deliver on. Like what the film was gonna say in the pit. What the fact that Finn was like getting angry that Poe was doing criminal stuff, and like this is stuff you could have edited out. Like purely just remove it because it's a crap movie and you didn't get to deliver on setups you had. Which so like no, this is not damage control of The Last Jedi. This is JJ wrecking what we had. Like JJ's The Force Awakens were like playing around, setting up a big building, and then Big Brother The Last Jedi come in and has to fix it because the dad gonna abuse them if they ruin it. Then JJ comes in and ruin it again, and then they get abused by me because I'm the abusive dad in this, because I hate Rise of Skywalker. I feel like there's nothing in it. Like people people say they enjoy it, it's good. Haven't given me any concrete. Like I ask people why they like it, and they only general, definitive stuff. It's fun. It's adventure. It makes me feel good, and that is a valid experience of a movie. But if you can't give me anything substantial on why you like it, then the only conclusion I can take is that you fell into the light show because of they had a set pieces, nice colors, and you don't need a good movie at all, because even then I feel like this movie lacked the artistry of the other ones. Like The Force Awakens, I'm not a big fan, but I give it that. Like JJ's direction is stellar. The forest lightsaber fight is tactile, it's intimate, it's pulled back, and it's raw, and the colors, and I love the first fight, and the Millennium Falcon fight, like even dog fights. It's great. And The Last Jedi, fucking colors in that one, and it's basically like those I can understand those, but this one if it's bloated, the action feel weightless. It's ugly at times. Like holy fuck, the Last Jedi planet is so ugly, and the strobe light made it feel so cheap. And you, what is there to care about? It's MacGuffin that has to go in, make them the next MacGuffin. They put aside all the drama they established. They introduced elements that is unearned. Palpatine doesn't feel earned. The Jedi Sith and didn't feel earned. The last shot didn't feel earned. Nothing. This movie works on no level for me. No drama. Not a Star Wars movie. Not as individual. Not as an end to trilogy. There's no value in this movie for me. And the only thing I've gotten to wrangle out of people is they say it introduced elements from the EU. And okay, that's fair. It's a universe you're invested in. I'm invested in. I've explored a lot of EU. I love EU. A lot of my favorite Star Wars stuff are from the EU and the elements there. But it didn't do anything with those elements. It said these things exist in these movies now. But that's it. It's lip service. That's all it is. And okay, that's fair. But if that's enough for you to enjoy this movie, then go ahead. I gonna need an actual good movie, and I don't feel like having EU elements is like opposite of being good movie. You can have both. Am I forgetting anything now? JJ is a hack writer. The Last Jedi is the good movie. The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, nothing works. Not dramatically, visually, structurally, politically, nothing. So, yeah. Fuck you, socks, you nig.